During this lesson, we'll start with rhythm basics. We'll cover 3 different time signatures: quarter notes, half notes, dotted half notes, and whole notes, and then basic counting. Time signatures are up first. You'll find the time signature at the beginning of every song. It's the set of numbers right after the clef. The time signature in this example is 4/4. It's also known as common time. So what do these numbers represent? Well, the top number tells you how many beats are in a measure. The bottom number tells us what kind of note represents the beat. The bottom number is what tends to confuse people. We use a number to represent a specific kind of note. Really, we could write it like this. We're saying, hey, there are 4 of these in each measure, or the equivalent, which we'll get to in a minute. But whatever happens, notes in 4/4 time have to add up to 4 within each measure. The only difference is that in real music, we use a number on the bottom instead of a note. Just remember, a 4 on the bottom represents a quarter note. Now here's a different time signature, 3/4. The bottom note hasn't changed, so the quarter note will still feel the beat. But in 3/4 time, there are only 3 beats in a measure. Here's 2/4 time. This time, 2 beats in a measure. The 4 is on the bottom, so the quarter note still gets the beat. So now we need to look at 4 common notes and their values so we can know how to apply them in the music. Here's the quarter note we've been talking about. For a while, in the early levels here, that's going to define the beat. A half note is worth twice what a quarter note is worth. So if a quarter note is worth 1 beat, a half note is worth 2. A dotted half note lasts for 3 beats. Let's take a look at the dot and see what that does. The dot rule says that the dot adds half of the value of the note back to the note. So in this case, the note is worth 2 beats. Half note is worth 2 beats. Half of 2 is 1. So the dot is worth 1. The half note 2 plus the dot 1 equals 3 beats. That's how we got there. Keep the dot rule in the back of your head because it'll come back later in another lesson. Finally, the whole note, just an empty circle. It lasts for 4 beats. So now that we understand time signatures and some common notes, we can learn how to count rhythmically. If we're working in 4/4 time, we'll always be counting to 4. Every new measure will start again at 1. In this example, there are 4 quarter notes, so they each get a number. Clapping and counting out loud is a good way to get a sense of the rhythm. I'll clap it out and count it. I'll always clap at the start of a new note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty straightforward. However, here we have a half note at the end of the measure. That's worth 2 beats. Notice that there's a dash between 3 and 4. That's to indicate that you hold that third note for 2 beats. So if I were to count and clap this example, it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. We only clapped at the start of the half note. This time there are 2 half notes, so they each last for 2 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice that I'm still counting every beat. That helps me know where I am in time. A dotted half note lasts for 3 beats, so there are dashes between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, indicating that I need to hold that note. 1, 2, 3, 4. The whole note lasts for the entire measure in 4/4 time. 1, 2, 3, 4. There was 1 clap, but we keep counting to indicate that the music is continuing. So here's a different time signature. That's the only thing that's changed. Notice there are 3 beats in a measure. So instead of counting to 4, I'll count to 3 when I'm counting and clapping. 1, 2, 3. This time the half note is at the end. 1, 2, 3. This time we have a dotted half note which covers the entire measure when you're in 3/4 time. 1, 2, 3. Last up is 2/4 time. We only have 2 beats in a measure, so this time we'll only count to 2. 1, 2. And when there's a half note, it fills up the entire measure. 1, 2. Now counting and clapping can help, but clapping doesn't allow you to hear the duration of a note. We need singing for that. So we're going to look at 3 exercises and listen to some singers as they count sing. The first exercise is in 4/4 time, 4 beats in a measure. There are 8 measures and 2 systems. We're just using one single pitch here so we can focus on the rhythm. We'll worry about pitches when we get into sight singing. If I'm holding beat 1 for 2 beats, I won't be able to sing the number 2. Instead, I'll hold through it. You'll only hear the number of the beat that the note starts on. So in measure 1, you'll hear the singers sing the numbers 1 and 3 as they hold both those pitches. The important thing for you is to still be counting to 4 in your head. Take a listen once, then back up the video and try it with the singers. Before the singers start, you'll hear a starting pitch and then a count off of 4 clicks since we're in 4/4 time.
One, three, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3.
Again, we have another exercise with 8 measures, but this time it's in 3/4 time. Listen once, then back up and sing along. Remember, this time you're only counting to 3. So this time when the singers start, you'll hear a starting pitch and then a count off of 3 clicks because we're in 3/4 time.
One, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1.
One last example in 2/4 time. Listen once, then back up the video and sing along. This time you'll hear the note and then 2 clicks before the singers begin.
1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1.
That concludes the first rhythm lesson. We covered a lot today. Count singing is a great way to hammer out a rhythmic issue when you're sight singing. It can be a little challenging at first, but will get more difficult gradually over several lessons, and you'll be an expert in no time. If you need to review the lesson, you can just rewind and do that anytime.